Hi everyone, welcome to 5 Minute Mondays. Glad you could join us. Hope you had a great week. All right, we're back on schedule this week. We're back down in Tommy's dungeon in the studio, and we're back talking about snare tuning. And we had talked about that I like to use 3 different types of tuning, kind of like high, mid, low. Today we're going to talk about low tuning. I also like to call it fat snare, gushy snare, 70 snare. It's just a big fat kind of snare sound. And I've already changed the head on this one a couple of weeks ago, so I don't need to really change the head on it. So what I'm basically just going to do is just kind of tell you how I tune it and how I dampen it and then how I hit it. And like I said, this is all, there's so many different ways to do this. And every big-time professional drummer out there, they're going to have 20 different ways to do this. This is just the way I do it, and this is the way that I found works for me in the studio and live. The drum that I'm using today, I carry around in my studio rig about 20 snare drums, and I've got probably 4 or 5 gushy guys that I just love. And the reason that I do that is because some drums will sound great in one studio, and then you take it to another studio and it'll sound terrible. It just, for some reason, it just doesn't like the room. So this one is one of my favorites. It is a 6.5-inch Yamaha Birch drum from the 80s, and they just are just wonderful, wonderful drums for this kind of sound. So what I like to use the Coated Emperor, the Remo Coated Emperor on the top, and then just the regular snare batter on the bottom, the Ambassador snare. This one's got a little hole in it, that's why it's got the duct tape there, so nothing real high-tech about that. Some snares, I like to use the 42 strand. This particular one, I've just got the regular 30, I think a 30 strand or something like that. Anyway, so basically, let's talk about tension. The tension on this drum, on the bottom head, is actually pretty tight. So let's see if you can hear this. That's about how tight. If I press down, it's on a scale from 1 to 10. It's about an 8. I like my bottom snares. My bottom head's tight on my snares. That's just my preference. Again, there's a lot of people do it differently. That's how I do it. So the key to the gushy snare sound is the top head. Basically, you want this thing tuned to about like if you hit it, it goes boom, about that pitch, boom, something like that. So yeah, I'm pretty close. So that's basically, if I were to hit it without the snares on, it's pretty loose. So again, you want to make sure that each lug is in tune with each other. There's not one that's higher than the other. If I turn this on, you're going to get a ton of overtones. So what I like to do is on my studio rig, I've got about 6 or 7 of these all over the place. They just kind of end up everywhere. And what I do is I'll take a piece of paper or a paper towel, take a little piece like that, and I don't have any duct tape with me today, so what I'm going to do is I'll use painter's tape. All right, so what I'll do, take a piece of duct tape, and again, if I've got duct tape, I don't have any gaff tape, I'll use duct tape. I really don't like to use duct tape because duct tape sticks to the rims and it leaves a residue. It's kind of gross. There's a tape called gaff tape. Gaff tape is like duct tape, but it's not as sticky. But it holds great, but it doesn't like leave a junk. This is just like painter's tape. So what I'll do is I'll take a little tiny piece of something or another, paper towel, whatever, and I'll just put it put it along the rim where it's holding it down, and that'll dampen it. Take out those overtones, so it'll sound like this. Anyway, I'm gonna put my old piece back on because I think it sounds better. All right, so there's that. And a lot of times, just a little trick here, it'll sound differently if you put it away from the mic versus under the mic. So you might want to experiment with that. Sometimes if I really want to dampen it down, I'll put it right under the mic. Now, two different sounds. You got the rim shot, and then you got the hitting in the middle, which is off of the rim. Now, for most of the gushy sound, I generally don't do a rim shot with this. So, if you really want this thing to sound ultra gushy, you can even take the tuning down, and then you'll get kind of a late 80s country sound, which is really low. Anyway, that's the fat snare sound. There's really not a whole lot to it. You want to make sure that your bottom head is not too loose. Another thing that you want to do, make sure that your snare tension is not too tight or too loose. But if you're going to err on one side or the other, for the fat snare sound, err on the side of it being too loose. Because, like, here's the... That really sounds good to my ear. Okay, if I tighten this, hear how it kind of chokes it a little bit, and I can tighten it a little bit more. It's all your tone's gone. So, what you want to do, kind of find out where it's too loose. That's too loose right there. You're starting to hear it rattle real bad. And then bring it back. So, okay, that's a good 70s fat, gushy snare sound. An engineer is going to be thrilled when they hear that. Anyway, if you've got any questions, tweet me, email me, leave a comment on the blog site, and I'll be happy to answer your questions if I can. Hopefully I can. So, hope you have a great week. I will talk to you next week. Next week we'll talk about the mid, the in-between. That's the hardest sound for me to get. So we'll spend a little time on that. And I hope you have a great week. Bye. It's a 6.5-inch Ludwig, God, it's a 12-year-old crappy painter's tape. Oh my gosh. Could have found a worse roll of tape. Oh my God. Oh man. Alright. That will all go away.